How's it going, everybody? I'm meteorologist Joe Cognis, filling in for Taylor while she's out emceeing the Raising Hail Tour 2025. Back here with your daily forecast. Severe storms is what we're expecting for the south today. Over the next few days, really could have repeated chances for the southern U.S. to see some severe weather. And then the other big part of the story, snow and ice is expected for parts of the Central Plains and Ohio River valleys over the next couple of days. Could be a pretty significant winter weather event for some parts of the U.S., expecting probably some power outages and things like that to be also impacted by this snow and ice. And then we do have, it seems like, the start of an active pattern setting up over the next couple of weeks. The jet stream just has a few more bends in it than it has over the past couple of months, really setting the stage for what could be a semi-active spring, especially early on for the southern U.S. But before getting into the weather, Raising Hail Tour 2025 still going on right now out in right now Chicago, Illinois, and then we'll go on to Denver and Omaha and then Orlando to finish things off. And of course, you can use the coupon code still RHT Taylor to get $10 off your tickets for that event and come by, say hi, and see what we're expecting for severe weather this year. It seems like it's going to be a semi-active year, maybe not as active as the last couple of years, which were above average by every sense of the words there, but expecting some pretty good things for this year. So yesterday, pretty slow to start things off until the mid-afternoon hours. Had some thunder showers in Oklahoma, Texas, and parts of Arkansas. Those continued through the overnight hours. And then as we're getting into the morning, here we're expecting some thunder showers to continue, severe weather for parts of Texas and the Gulf states over there. So before getting into the severe weather, though, here's what we're seeing for our average temperatures, well below average for pretty much the entire U.S. The only areas that are seeing above or near average temperatures are the deep south, of course, Florida, and then the Rockies and parts of the West Coast as well. But surprisingly, the Northeast is at or slightly above average. They're just on the right side of the jet stream right now to get those warmer temperatures. So then for tomorrow, the warm air pushes a little bit further north, could bring some more severe weather into parts of, say, Mississippi and Alabama, but then expecting that winter weather to continue for the central U.S. and then all the way up into the Great Lakes region. So here's what we're seeing right now in terms of the surface conditions. Got a good band of thunder showers moving through Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Kentucky right now. They're just kind of riding along this cold front / stationary front. It's moving very, very slowly off to the southeast, and we could get some severe thunderstorms coming off of this later on in the afternoon for parts of Texas and the Dixie Alley out there. And then we have a secondary cold front that's kind of colliding with this band of showers. That's going to convert a lot of this to snow. So parts of the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia, North Carolina, those areas could see a little bit of snowfall over the next couple of days. So you see that transition right into the snow as that band of rain is moving up into the higher elevation areas where it's just a little bit colder, cold enough to make some snow out there. Right now for temperatures, though, things are pretty chilly up north, -9 for Billings. Right now warming up from where they were at earlier this morning, which was around -15. So then on the Pacific Northwest, things are sitting right around freezing. And then down south, where we're expecting severe weather today, temperatures in the 60s and getting pretty close to 70 degrees in some areas. And then, of course, Miami, always the warmest, 79 degrees right now. Things are pretty nice down there. But that's what we have for the surface conditions. Got a lot of weather advisories out right now, cold weather way up north, but we'll check out things for the winter weather for the Central Plains and the Great Lakes region. First, winter storm watch until Thursday. That's with this low pressure system that's going to be coming through Oklahoma and up into the Great Lakes region over the next couple of days. And then we do have a winter weather advisory for parts of Oklahoma. That's for up to, I believe, 2/10 of an inch of freezing rain and just a light dusting of snow, up to an inch in some spots as you get a little bit closer to the Oklahoma-Kansas border. That's going to be where the heavier snowfall is, not as much rain or freezing rain up there. But around OKC, the OKC metro, we're mainly going to be expecting just at most a very light dusting of snow, but likely mostly going to be rain and then switching over to freezing rain at some point. And then the heart of kind of this winter storm here is going to be right around the Kansas City area, where they could be seeing up to, I believe that's 8 inches of snow through Wednesday. So going to be a pretty significant amount of snow out there. And then moving over towards the East Coast a little bit here, flood watch out through Thursday, going to be seeing a lot of rain out there. And then moving into the higher elevations of the Appalachian Mountains, winter storm warning, we're again seeing up to 8 inches of snow. And then the purple areas, the winter weather advisory, that's up to an inch of snow and some sleet accumulations up to an inch, I believe, as well. So then moving a little bit further south here, flood watch through Thursday, expecting heavy rains to continue down there for parts of Louisiana and far eastern Texas. And then, of course, all the flood warnings in the light green along the rivers, and an extreme cold warning up for the far northern U.S., expecting temperatures. Right now, at least, they're seeing temperatures in the -20 to -30 degree range. So pretty cold up there. Fire weather outlook, though, for today, expecting some pretty windy conditions behind a cold front coming through, a dry line kind of setting up as well. That's kind of less notable this time of year because there isn't as much moisture in the air, but it does still make for some pretty strong fire weather conditions, and that moves just a little bit further out to the east as we go into tomorrow, and then day 3, so that's going to be, I believe that's Thursday. That's going to be the main area right in this part of Texas. That's where they're going to see some fire weather conditions, but then they kind of dissipate after that. So some future radar. This is the part we're all waiting for. These areas in the green, that's where the SPC has put out a risk for severe thunderstorms today. There's another little band here around the Houston area, but you just see this big band of rain, and the main threat for the severe weather is going to come right on the leading edge of this band, where they're going to be expecting the strongest winds, possibly some hail with some of the storms if they can get out ahead of this line of storms and ingest a lot more of that warmer air and good moisture and not have to compete with a line of storms behind it. But then, like I talked about before, as that band of rain moves further up to the north and to the east, you're going to see a lot of that changing into snow. So the DC area could see some pretty good snow, possibly some sleet as well. And then as we get into this evening, seeing a good band of storms start to form near the Houston area, some rain showers in central Oklahoma. Here's what we have for our hail forecast, mainly around the San Antonio and Houston area. There's going to be a very, very isolated threat for severe hail. Likely going to stick on the smaller side, but we could see up to some quarter, maybe some $half sized hail with some of these storms if they can get going, if they can stay isolated and don't become just engulfed by that band of rain behind it. So quarter size is what we're expecting for the maximum hail size today. We might see up to $half, that 1 1/4 inch, maybe a ping pong ball sized hailstone if it can stay isolated, but the most likely maximum hail size for today is going to stick right around that 1 inch range. So the bigger threat for today is looking like it is going to be wind right now. So starting down near the Houston, San Antonio area, we could have that band of showers kind of forming right along the I-35 corridor, more oriented northeast to southwest, and then moving towards the east there through the overnight hours. We could see an isolated 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gust out of these storms. It's possible, but these storms look like they're going to be kind of on the lower end. Tomorrow looks like a bigger threat for wind and hail and tornadoes, but there is still a small threat for some of those severe threats today. Looking at the Gulf state threat for today, wind, again, 60 to 70 mile an hour seems like that ideal range that you could see some stronger gusts today, all the way up to Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, Alabama, all the way down near New Orleans for this evening and into the overnight hours, looking like kind of the time frame for the severe threat. Tornado threat, pretty much the same areas as the wind threat, except it is just a little bit more narrow, a little bit more squished down, and it's going to be a lot more isolated. We might see a brief spin up or two along the leading edge of that line of thunderstorms, but these likely won't be long-lived and super strong tornadoes if we do get any. They'll just be an area of enhanced wind, so we could see some weaker tornadoes spin up along that line. So lower end severe risk for today, low risk for tornadoes, low risk for large hail, low risk for high winds, and low risk for flooding. Now there are some areas where there's up to a medium to higher risk for flooding. If that band of rain sits over you for a couple hours, drops a few inches of rain, that could do a lot of flooding in some localized areas, but the overall risk for flooding is fairly low for today. Tomorrow it'll probably be higher as that area has already been saturated with rain, so we'll keep an eye out on that. And then looking at snow chances going into the next 72 hours, the next 3 days here, the highest chance for 2 inches of, up to 2 inches of snow, seeing all the way up in Quebec and the Newfoundland areas, and then all the way down into Kansas and pretty close to the Colorado border there. Pretty significant risk for up to 2 inches of snow, and then 4 inches of snow, a little bit more narrow, but still looking like a pretty good chance. I believe that's an 80% chance right there for this area to see up to 2 inches of snow. And then 6 inches of snow, that's when things really start to narrow down. So between 4 and 6 inches seems like a good range for the Central Plains to get, especially just to the west of Topeka and near the Kansas City area. That seems like where the highest snowfall is going to be, and then the snowfall chances decreasing as you move up to the northeast. And then it seems like it's going to get, the system is going to enhance and strengthen a little bit as it moves up towards the Great Lakes region, and you're going to suck in all of this moisture from the ocean. It'll start wrapping around, and Canada should get a pretty decent snowstorm. And then looking at 12 inches of snow just for fun, of course, you have the Rocky Mountain peaks getting in where they could see a 20 to 40% chance of up to 12 inches of snow in some areas. Out near Salt Lake City and the higher elevation areas of Utah as well could join in on the 12 inches of snow party. And then for tomorrow morning, this is when things look like they're really going to start getting active in terms of the winter weather for Oklahoma and Kansas. So here we have the rain switching over to sleet and freezing rain around 3 or 4 a.m. Some models have it starting a little bit later, some models have it starting a little bit early, but with the way that the clouds are right now, it might end up starting earlier than some of the models are projecting, especially since yesterday we were forecasted to get up to 41 degrees, 41, 42 for the OKC metro. We actually only got to 37 degrees, so we were about 5 degrees cooler than expected. So if that same trend continues for today with the cloud cover sticking around, things could end up being pretty rough for your morning commute, especially if you are in the OKC metro and anywhere north of that. So some pretty good snowfall for Wichita and Topeka and Kansas City. As this system moves off to the northeast, that band of freezing rain will get smaller and smaller as we have a little bit of a cold front coming down from the northwest, cooling things off, bringing some snow to the Great Lakes areas. Of course, you'll have lake effect enhancement along the shorelines of the Great Lakes, but overall, not a super strong, super well-defined winter weather system, but it will still do some damage just with the hazards that are in play here, mainly being the ice. And then on Thursday, we could see possibly very early Thursday morning, maybe we see a very light band of snow coming through central Oklahoma, but it could be one of those things where the snow is falling, but it's evaporating, or in this case, sublimating, before it ends up actually hitting the ground. And then, of course, that severe weather for the southern U.S. here, starting pretty early on. This is at 9:30 tomorrow morning. This threat looks like it'll continue. The SPC has a slight risk out for severe weather tomorrow morning and into the afternoon, but this band will just very, very slowly progress off to the east into the evening and overnight hours, and we could see some stronger, higher-end severe threats with these storms for tomorrow, still mainly being wind and tornadoes. Not too much of a hail threat with this system, but it looks to be a slightly more impactful severe weather event than what we're expecting for today. And then those severe storms continue off towards the east coast for Thursday morning, and into the evening hours it should move off the coast. But looking a little bit longer range here for the weekend, seeing this band of snow move off to the northeast, dying down pretty quickly as we finish off the weekend into Sunday. And then snowfall accumulations here, see 3, 4, 5, 6 inches for parts of Kansas, just a very light dusting for northern Oklahoma, up to an inch along some spots along the Kansas-Oklahoma border, and then getting, like I said, stronger as it moves up towards Canada, where they could be seeing 12 to 16 inches of snow in some spots around Toronto. That seems like it's going to be the most impacted area. And then we have another system that's starting to move onshore. You can see from the snowfall accumulations out in the Sierra Nevada mountains. This looks like it could be another chance for some severe weather as it makes its way into the central U.S., but expecting well over 2 feet in some of the areas around the Sierra Nevadas. So then we have to, of course, talk about the ice accumulations. By tomorrow morning, they could see 2 to 3/10 of an inch in some spots in Virginia. Moving up into the Ohio River Valley, we have a very, very narrow band of ice accumulations. This is the part of this ice band that worries me the most. Up to 1/4 to 3/10 of an inch of ice accumulation. And this is sitting just south of St. Louis. With how narrow this band is, if it shifts just a few miles to the north, all of St. Louis is going to be impacted by this freezing rain. If it shifts to the south, St. Louis will be in the clear. But with the way it is right now, if it wobbles just a little bit, things could get pretty bad for St. Louis. And then by Thursday morning, looking at almost a 1/2 inch of freezing rain accumulation for parts of Virginia. So it could be pretty significant for the Ohio River Valley and the East Coast. For Oklahoma, this model in particular isn't picking up on any ice accumulation for central Oklahoma, but from what I've seen, I'm expecting possibly a very light glaze of ice all the way up to 1/4 of an inch of ice in some spots, depending on how early that rain switches over to ice and just exactly where that band of ice sets up. It's going to be very similar to this band of ice in the Ohio River Valley, where it's a narrow band where the impacts of it could be drastically different depending on where things line up. But we'll definitely be keeping an eye out on things for that. So just make sure you're aware of the road conditions before you go out on your morning commute for tomorrow. Future temperatures here getting cold, even colder for the northern U.S., down to -18 in Billings by tomorrow morning, right around 31 in OKC for tomorrow. So that's right around the area that we would expect freezing rain. 30 to like 29 to 30 degrees is usually a better scenario for freezing rain forming, but this is still plenty cold enough for that freezing rain. Then getting even colder as we go into the afternoon. The temperature is just going to keep dropping throughout the day tomorrow, getting down into the teens for central Oklahoma, down into the 20s for DFW. And then we'll get a little bit of relief as we go into the weekend. Slightly warmer temperatures pushing back in, but not too warm. It's still sitting well below average for this time of year, heading towards the end of this week and into the weekend. So extended temperature outlook showing those cold temperatures sticking around for a good week and a half, really, until this end of the time frame here, February 20th. But it does show signs of the cold air pushing off further to the east as some warmer temperatures build in from the desert southwest here. So we could be looking at a warm-up coming end of February, beginning of March, which will really kick off the severe weather down in the southern U.S. And then above average precip for the Pacific Northwest. It looks like they have some good chances at an atmospheric river setting up right over them, which is right around this time of year. That usually happens. And then for the East Coast, some good precipitation still expected for them. So the East Coast is just going to get a lot of precip over the next couple of weeks is what it's looking like. But we'll be keeping an eye out on things. And then one more reminder about the Raising Hail Tour. We'll be going to Denver on February 25th, March 4th in Omaha, and March 11th in Orlando. We got 3 more shows left after today. So things are looking like it'll be a pretty eventful season. So if you want to see what we're expecting, exactly which areas we are expecting to get hit the most, which areas might shift from previous years, come by and see what we're all about. If you want to get $10 off coupon, RHT Taylor 10 for your tickets for whichever show you would want to go to. But that's all we have for today. If you're interested in learning more about us, go ahead and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Or if you're interested in purchasing a plan, go ahead and scan that QR code up above me. Or you can give us a call at 855-334-4245. Email us at info@hailtrace.com or check out our website at hailtrace.com. That's it for now. I'm meteorologist Joy Cragness. Thanks for watching.